All right. Hello, everybody. Mike Benzikin, President, Citizen Warrior Foundation. So this video is talking about PayPal's recent attempt to inject ESG-styled censoriousness into its platform's TOS. They are backpedaling. Their stock is taking a beating, as it should. If you own it, we don't suggest anything because we're not financial advisors, but our positions in it have now been sold. So take that for what it is. Long story short, let me tell you a story about PayPal and the necessity for a decentralized blockchain where you can do online processing and get monies over to the people who need it for goods and services or what have you. So 2 years ago, after I sold my position as CEO and chair of an SME multinational, I realized that the corporate press had, let's say, aligned with a singular narrative and that wasn't getting the truth to the people. So what we wanted to do was create the decentralized media apparatus, which we are now just restarting. So what had happened is, this was around the time of the COVID lockdowns. So my business partner in the UK, who I've spoken in prior videos, again, he used to do propaganda for Something Zero. He was kidnapped by the Something Brotherhood, and then he escaped somehow and made his way up to the UK and did propaganda for Something BC. And he left. And when he left, I left my station, I sold my position, and we went through a transformative period, came out, met each other. By the time we met each other, he was working on essentially decentralized documentary apparatus to cover at the beginning the COVID lockdowns, the efficacy of this and the decision making of the authorities, and so on and so forth. You can remember that time, and a lot of the information today would support his claims then. Long story short, this is what happened. He was investigated by some authoritative body in the region, in the UK, and he had been contacted by Business Insider prior and said, oh, can you give us a statement relative to the freezing pending an investigation, without cause really, of your PayPal account? And this is before he even knew that it was happening. So long story short, lo and behold, yes, his PayPal account was frozen and he never got the money back, and then he disappeared after that. So we don't know what happened to him, but doesn't look great. But we'll get into that in another video. So what happened later, 3 weeks after that event, was that my PayPal account, and our connection was not public. Everything was done in encryption because we were very, let's say, unenthused about the way that certain authorities had been treating their citizenry during this time, dissent specifically, and the censoriousness of the Web 2.0. So we had been very, let's say, covert in our discussions, everything lawful, constructive, and in good intent, but yet, clandestine, because who knows, right? Who knows who's next, right? This is the fear of encroaching totalitarianism of sorts, or authoritarianism. So anyway, my PayPal account is frozen without cause, and by its affiliation with a US prime bank with whom I had banked with my entire life, never missed a payment. I built the largest credit line with, and it was a substantive credit line, real big. Got shut down due to its affiliation with PayPal without cause. So PayPal, the online payment processor, one could say they sort of have a monopoly on online payments, which is really silly given that there's so many alternatives today now. Do what you want with your PayPal account. But the PayPal account terms of service that they tried to get away with was to essentially charge up to $2,500 to anyone who would be guilty of, under their discretion, right, misinformation, disinformation, or perhaps would misuse a pronoun, or perhaps would do something relative to partisanship that has there's no justification to incorporate what's done off platform like that, especially if it's lawful and just purely discretionary by a private company or a publicly sold company with shareholders who make decisions on, let's say, what's good information and bad information. It's just an extension of that point of authoritative fiat and it's used to skirt around the First Amendment, which allows us to dissent against what would otherwise be considered authoritative information. So this is Mike Benz, Citizen Warrior Foundation, saying again, PayPal is a real piece of ish. And if you have any sense about you and you believe in freedom, you believe in God-given rights, you believe that these private companies should stay the heck out of the so-called culture wars, then you have now the information to make the proper decisions. If you make it or not is up to you. So again, blockchain, decentralized blockchain, we need this. It is our opt-out system, and it will also act as a check and balances against ish companies like PayPal to even attempt to put this TOS in and get away with it. And they thought they were going to get away with it, and they claimed they made a mistake. A big company like that does not make a legal mistake, in their terms of service. This is not possible, or if it is possible, then they don't deserve our faith, our trust, and in my opinion, or they don't deserve my investment, right? Because only an idiot, grossly negligent company would even consider doing such a thing. And mind you, all of this extends from this ESG nonsense that was generated from a supranational or a group of supranationals that was pushed through the European Commission that made its way out west, and now they're trying to effectively put a corporate credit score on our industry, especially the big companies. And now mind you, a lot of these big companies, the CEOs, they don't speak up against it because they know that these, let's say, powers that be, okay, they want to sound conspiratorial or anything, but that they'll short their stock into oblivion, that they'll be replaced as CEO, right? Because the CEO is a figurehead, but they're not a large shareholder per se, right? And a lot of these Fortune 500, so virtually none of them are. So they can be just removed at any time. They're furniture, they're figureheads, they're furniture. So although they may be implementing these policies, understand that they could be doing it against every fiber of their being, knowing that this is not the right thing to do. Obviously, we do not want this. A Far Eastern nation has an ethos. We do not want to adopt that ethos in the West, right? Because we believe in freedom. That's kind of our shtick. And let's stick to it, guys. All right, guys, so PayPal can suck a pair of eggs, and wishing you all a great day ahead. Cheers.